What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes always deliver the big names. Today, we get to focus on one of my favorite weight classes, actual favorite weight class, the bantamweight division, the 135ers. About 10 years ago, there was a stat that said the 35ers were out cracking the 45ers, meaning they had a higher knockout ratio. We couldn't figure it out because it was always heavyweight, light heavyweight, and so on. But for whatever reason, they jumped from lightweight to bantamweight. And with all the great names over the years, it's been one of my favorites. Marcus McGhee here, our guest. He adds more to this division. He brings power, speed, just excitement. Marcus, that fight against Jonathan Martinez was something else, man. I really liked it. What a great showing for yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was great to get out there against a guy like Jonathan and, test my skill against him.
And the thing is there's so many of you that are great fighters. I'm not joking. It's like 1 through 40 is really, really good. So once you get like a win or two under your belt, everyone's a quality win along the way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that nobody's a slouch in the division. I mean, I would say in the UFC totally, but especially in our division. I mean, guys have every aspect of the game kind of dialed in and great coaches and great teammates. So it's definitely a deep pool, and I'm glad to be working my way through it.
Even Gaston Volanos, fellow Peruvian like Goes and I picked him over you, by the way. I'll eat crow. Um, but I used to cover this guy watching Muay Thai. I don't know if you did, but he used to fight at Lion Fight. He had the spinning elbows, exciting fighter, good looking kid, everything. And so I didn't know as much about you at the time. But like I say, even he didn't have much experience in the UFC, but he came with fanfare because of that. So just like I say, along the way, um, some great names that you've been mixed up with. And now I'm pumped for 2025. Is this the type of year that maybe you get 3 fights in because you have this time off since the Martinez win, and now you can map out your 2025? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'd like to get three. In an ideal perfect year, I'd like to get four, but this is the sport of MMA, and injuries come, and it's almost, especially where we're at now, specifically, it's almost unheard of to get out of a fight unscathed in the top 15. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'd like to do: stay active, and keep on racking up these W's and testing my steel.
Did you think going in, and I'm sure that you did have some residual, but when Martinez was thrown at you, were you thinking just, oh man, leg kicks, here we go, like this is going to be an adventure? How did you even prepare for that? Because it could have been worse, but you got out of it.
Yeah, honestly, I did think that he was going to throw the leg kicks, but I honestly kept saying it that he had a lot of other tools that he could utilize.
Hmm.
So I figured when I took away that leg kick from him, he would start resorting to those other tools. But no, he stuck to that leg kick being his tool, and he was looking to get me out of there with it, and which he almost did. Got to give him kudos for that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just stay in the path, staying mentally strong in the midst of it, and then trying to find my shots, because like I didn't just want to get out of there on the fact that I won one and two. I wanted to, still try to put him on the canvas if I could.
Yeah, no, your hands are incredible, man. Your striking game is really fun to watch. One last thing, I guess, and then I'll turn it over to Goes just to close out the leg kick stuff, because I love leg kicks. I think it was UFC 8, um, when Marco Huas shot down a guy named Paul Varlins with leg kicks to the thigh, and now, of course, the calf kick is the one that's really, really more troublesome. But in the third round, what went through your head, because you were obviously limping? You took a good one there. How do you keep yourself calm and composed so you make sure that you look at the clock, you make it to the finish line, but you don't take another brutal one?
Yeah, I was looking up to the sky, like God, like be here with me, period. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like that was a good focus to have, you know what I'm saying? Like being grateful and present where I was. I understood that I was hurt, but I knew it was a decision that I had to make too. I get to make that decision. And the fact that I get to wake up each day and make a decision like that, I was like, man, I'm going to make the decision that I want to look back on and be proud of. So whether or not he was going to get me out of there with those kicks or not was irrelevant. I just wanted to land my shots and take it back to him, and prove that resilience as well.
Was it like nerve and muscle pain that you were feeling, or um Can you just talk about that the one in the third round that it looked like it did kind of shut you down for a moment? Is it almost like the equivalent of a liver shot, but maybe not the same, but just is there this one moment where you're like, oh man, like you have to figure out what it is that you're feeling?
Yeah, basically is what it is. Like the nerve and muscle damage is what the like initial damage that's done, but like basically that leg, can go dead, and it makes it hard for you to function on it correctly. And then just, making sure not taking another one was the big thing in my mind. Was like, okay, it's still able to, I can at least put weight on it and bear weight on it. And then luckily again I switched stances, and honestly I should have switched stances like I earlier, but I never did. It was one of the mistakes that I made. Again, I'm still learning in this game, but yeah, it was just more so like, hey, it's like keep your composure. You can still put weight on that leg. You still have other tools, and that's one of the things that I try to focus on. They take away the left hand, you still have the right hand, left foot, left leg, left knee. They take away their left leg, you still got right hand, knee, elbows, and that's one of the beautiful things about mixed martial arts.
Marcus, what you're doing right now is pretty tremendous. It's very hard to do, let alone in your division, right? You're on a streak and you're getting finishes for the most part. Can you tell us, like, at this point, because that division's so deep, have you already kind of mapped out, like, if they were, I feel like you've earned the right to say, this is what I want moving forward. If they were to ask you, is there like a respectful name that you would want, or names, a next step for you that you've kind of envisioned?
Yeah, I mean, me and Aiemann were already matched up. He's number 13, I'm number 14. I feel like that's a good fight to make. That's the first one that comes off the top of my head. We never got to clash still, so I wouldn't mind clashing still with him. I feel like there's some things that need to work their way out in the top 10. And I'm fine with fighting, in the 15 through 10 department, so that's a name that jumps out to me that I already said yes to, that I'd be more than willing to say yes to again.
How do you keep things from getting stale? Because things are working for you. You're doing good. You're looking great in your fights. How do you keep it from getting stale?
For me, it's just being grateful each day. I think that has added a lot to like my whole entourage, right? Like just being grateful that I get to wake up. Like I get to wake up. I get to go to the gym. I get to train. I get to be in the best shape of my life. I get to be healthy. I get to take supplements. I get to train for something I love to do. I get to provide for my family. I think holding on to that in particular, and not necessarily putting so much emphasis on the results of these fights helps me a lot, because I don't really focus or stay in that win mode for too long, because in real retrospect, it's not over. The journey is not over. The job is not done. And I understand that. And I'm content in that.
We know Marcus McGhee as the fighter, the intense fighter, right? He gets the job done. But outside of fighting, you do some stuff that actually I've been kind of getting a kick out of. Can you tell me a little bit about Munchies with Marcus? That's your YouTube channel, right? Where you cook things up and you kind of show us what to do. I like the one on game day. I appreciated that one. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that? How it came about?
Yeah, yeah. So that's my cooking show, Munchies with Marcus. Honestly, I've been working on getting with my videographer to drop some more episodes. It was just a way for me to interact with my fans. Cooking is something that I've always enjoyed doing. And I think it's fun. I think it kind of gives like a lifelike look to a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people think we live like this crazy lavish life, and some of us do. So that might be the lifestyle for some. But some of us are just in the kitchen whipping it up for our children, for our wives, for our family, for our girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy cooking. So it was a way for me to interact with the fans and throw a little twist on it myself, because like it was cool to cook and everything, but I just always love skits, little skits, and I kind of want to jump into the skit part a little bit more and just do little funny skits to start off every episode. So that game day one, that's exactly what I was doing. Football season was starting. I wanted to do something to involve football season starting, so it was like game day. Get on the video game, make a little fool of myself, do something funny, and then throw down in the kitchen.
What's your biggest pet peeve in the kitchen?
Biggest pet peeve in the kitchen. Somebody who's lingering in the kitchen and not helping. If you're gonna be in the kitchen, at least pick up a fork, a spoon, a knife, a blend, something. Pick something up and help.
Man, I know exactly what you're talking about. Is it that guy that comes in and asks you that dumb question that you know they don't give a crap about? How's work? How's that? And then they go, "Hey, what's that over there?" And they reach in and grab your food or something.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, if you didn't help cook, you don't get to taste it yet. You can sit down and you wait till you get a plate.
Uh, Let me ask you this, Marcus. If you could cook a meal for three MMA fighters, who would they be and what would be the meal?
Yeah. Oh, the meal, honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, because I know he's gonna be honest with me first and foremost, and I know that he's gonna tear up the portion, so I don't necessarily have to worry about portion. I can make a pretty good amount. But it'd probably be just like some whole food or some soul food, just some fried chicken, some macaroni and cheese, and some greens on the side with some with a leg in there. I think he would appreciate that. And then a second one would be Dustin Poirier. He came out with his hot sauce, so I think it'd be interesting to make something Thai for him, or something like that that would like, stimulate his hot senses, no Diddy. But yeah, I think that would be dope. And then the third one, it would just have to be a goat meal. So it'd have to be like maybe Patty the Batty, maybe something for Patty the Batty like smash burgers, and some
Mhm.
aioli French fries or something like that.
There you go. That
Patty
sounds
the
fun.
Batty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. All right. So just one more MMA question from me, and I'll turn it back over to George. Sometimes what we'll see is we'll see these fighters, they end up on these like 8, 9 fight win streaks. And you feel like the level hasn't really jumped up yet, and you don't want those people to get passed up. You want them to get their title shot. So how do you combat that you don't get lost in the shuffle, right? That every fight is some sort of progression for you.
You know, uh, I would love to say I focus on that, but I definitely don't. I think that's why my ranking was how it was, before I even fought Jonathan. I wasn't even, really inside. I think I have gotten lost in transition, and that's kind of been my life. So I don't really focus on that. I know God's got a plan for my life, and as long as I keep on showing up to the gym, and as long as I keep on showing up to the moment, right? If the moments present themselves, and I'm ready, like I should be ready, then opportunity. What is it? What do they say? Opportunity meets when opportunity meets timing, where preparation meets opportunity and timing, so like I think that I just got to keep on doing what I'm doing, keep showing up, and then keep being presentable as well, presenting myself the way that I am, not changing up on it, and going out there and having exciting fights. I think that you go out and have exciting fights, who can deny you?
Um, I'm going back to Patty the Batty. Which one? The one that's in season? Because that's one plate. Here you go, sir. But the one that's out of season, we got seconds and thirds in the kitchen.
Out of season for sure. The one with those cheeks that looks like he ate the other guy. That
Yeah.
one, that Patty the Batty. So we can really stuff him and see what he thinks about it. Some quality size burgers, like a triple stack, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah. It's funny because I went through a recent weight loss and then weight gain, and I feel horrible with the weight gain. And I can't imagine he does this after every fight. He has the ability to take it off. I get it, but still, like he looks pretty good when he's all, he's got his abs and he's in when he's in fight week. He just looks like a phenomenal athlete. Then I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
I feel like, it's not that hard to do, especially because your body wants to uptake that. I probably gain maybe just as much weight as him sometimes. It really
Do you
just
really?
depends on, yeah, absolutely. I
How high
think
you
I
get?
carry like 75, like
Uh-huh.
I'm finally making my way back down, but I've been up to 82 after a fight before, what I'm saying, the week after,
Mhm.
so like
Oh,
it wouldn't look it wouldn't
1
look like
week
it
after, that's almost 50 pounds.
from Friday to Friday. What I'm saying? I've been that. So obviously I think the difference is too, I don't really stay at that either, So it's like your body's willing to uptake these things anyway since you depleted it for so long. So it'll
Yeah.
take up everything you give it. But at the same time, you start doing what you're supposed to do, training and dieting correctly. A week and a half, 2 weeks of being overweight is not the issue. It's when it's prolonged, it's when because really it's the inflammation, right? It's not even just the weight, because visceral fat doesn't necessarily become a thing at that week or that two. It's more like water retention, how much food is inside your gut, because our bodies really don't release that much food as we think they do. Everyone's always like, oh, 24 hours, you're going to digest everything you eat. It's not true. A lot of it just gets stored in that gut. So, I mean, your body could have up to 20 pounds of food in it. And I was in New York for a little while, so man, I got to feel I got to feel that for sure. And like you were saying, feeling like crap though, like my emotions go. That's why I was like really quick to try to get back to my diet, more so than anything, because my emotions be starting to fluctuate, like I start to
Hmm.
feel like I feel bloated, I feel lethargic. I'm like, yeah, man, this is not the way I want to be this weight.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question about a fight card in the past. You were 4-1 and you fought on a card called Cowboys and Cajuns. What on earth was that? Was that like some state fair, or where did they come up with that wacky labeling? And was it really Cowboys versus Cajuns, or where was this?
So it was the first time I had heard of it too, but it was Dustin Poirier's event that he was throwing. So he had
Oh,
teamed up
okay.
with a couple guys, I guess legacy guys. I don't necessarily know who the guys were, but it was a private event too, black tie event. So it was pretty cool. It was only like there was a bunch of businesses that basically purchased the tickets in this venue, and it was like it wasn't like an all inclusive thing. So that was kind of cool to experience that. But definitely, I
Yeah.
took that fight on 7 days' notice too, and I was like, "What, Cowboys and Cajuns? What is that?" You know?
Well, I know you fight out of the lab in Arizona, and you're originally from Michigan. So I just don't want to assume, but were you more of a cowboy or a Cajun?
I should have been a Cajun for sure, but they put me as a cowboy, I guess. Maybe I was a Cajun. I don't even remember which one I was. I think I was a cowboy though, because I think in my mind I was like, oh, I think I should be a Cajun, but the dude I was fighting was from Dustin Poirier's camp.
Well, he was the
Tough guy.
Cajun then.
Yeah, so he was the Cajun, so he's from
Yeah.
Louisiana, so the Cajun is what they gave him. But I know my family's from around that parts too. I have a lot of family from around there that I don't know, obviously, but a lot of Georgia, a lot of Louisiana, um, family that I have. So yeah, it was definitely interesting to be a cowboy.
Your style of cooking, can you kind of do a little bit of everything, or are you a Southern style? You mentioned fried chicken earlier. We're talking about Cajun, but do you have any other influence in terms of types of foods?
Yeah, I mean, I like to make Asian dishes. I like to make Italian dishes as well. Like I like to uh widen my horizons, I guess I should say.
I'm
So
glad you said that.
one of the main things I really want to start doing is start taking courses too, so I can learn techniques and I could teach people following me those techniques too, cutting techniques, broiling techniques, baking techniques, start giving them the little plug and play as well.
You ever watch Fucking Fridays with Dana and go, "That's dumb. I got a good one for you, Dana." Like, you ever want to just go in there and chop it up with them,
Yeah, I
literally,
honestly
but
I don't think I've measured up to that standard to be able to do so. I'm just a guy throwing stuff together in the kitchen at this point. I got some
mhm,
more work to do before I get so bold. But yeah, man, some of those ones I'd be like, bro, Dana, don't take a bite of it. No, don't. And then sure enough, he
mhm,
takes a bite and he's like, yep, not swallowing this one. And I'm like, yep, I
mhm.
didn't think so either, brother. That's not the one. Uh, but a lot of those ones be pretty good though, man. I'm not gonna
It
lie.
looked like it, yeah, but some look awful.
Yeah, no, 100%. I really check out Volkanovski's channel a
Hmm.
bunch. Man, he got it set up where he's doing it correctly, man. He's just throwing together dishes. He's just got a cameraman coming in and he's just throwing together dishes constantly. So I'm kind of trying to take some notes from him and step my game up and really start getting in there. And you could tell that he's evolved since he started. He's evolved and he's taken different scenery. Like he really dove into it. He's mastering the practice which he's in. So it's pretty dope.
A couple other follows in MMA are Charles Rosa. I think
Hmm.
is either a Michelin chef, but I know he's like high level steakhouse type um chef. I guess has those types of culinary skills. I don't know if you remember him. I don't think he's with the UFC any longer, but he was in 2023. Fights out of American Top Team. He's about a featherweight, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously I think you've heard of Keith Lee, who used to fight, with Bellator, and now he's kind of, going around the country, going around the world actually, I guess.
Doing food
Um,
reviews, right? Yeah, I
Food
watch his
reviews,
food
yeah.
reviews
That's
all the time.
Kevin Lee's little brother. Apparently
Hmm.
Kevin's a pretty decent cook too.
Yeah, he just opened his own spot and like his brother pulled up on him. Funny enough, I didn't even know that his brother was like I had watched his brother long before I knew that he was a fighter. So I was watching all his TikToks and whatever he was putting up, I was like, man, all right, he's doing some good judging over here. And I was always enjoying it. And then come to find out, I go see him. I happened to see one of the fights and I'm like, bro, I think that's the same guy. And I was like, Lee. I was like, I wonder if that's Kevin Lee's little brother,
It
and sure
is.
enough, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Goes has one last one for you. Go ahead, Goes. What do you got for Marcus
Oh,
McGhee? 10-1 overall, one of the top bantamweights in the world, coming off a big win over Jonathan Martinez.
yeah. Two last things. So George and I are here in Vegas, so more than likely we're going to run into you at some point. When you book your next fight, if it's in Vegas, whatever they say, flying home, whatever that date is, tack on one day because we got to take you to some spots to eat out here. There's a lot of good spots to eat. That's one. Two, any MMA fighters out there, and I'm hoping you pick Daniel Cormier, but are there any that you could just whisper in their ear and say, I got you in Madden when you're ready. Come get some. Like, who would it be?
Man, honestly, that'd be a lie though. I'd be telling lies because Madden is not my game, dude. It's not my
No?
game. Nah, they probably have me in that. Honestly, I play like RPGs and like Call of Duty and like Final
What about Holloway? He
Fantasy.
plays that.
Yeah, so me and Holloway, we can get to work. But I watched him a couple times. He's pretty savage, man. I'm gonna get a couple kills. I might even run the table, but I gotta give him his credit where credit's due. He at least has the cojones to get on live streams and show his real work. So I haven't done that one yet. That's something I've wanted to do though, start jumping on the game live stream. I actually have the equipment for it. I tried to do it a little bit and I couldn't figure out how to get it out there. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna play. I ain't even gonna live stream.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them guys are Max Holloway is a pretty savage out there.
Yeah. But you got me at the food thing. I'm already tacking a day on. It's already done. Whenever
Yeah.
that day is, if it's in Vegas, even when I come to Vegas, I'm gonna have to reach out and say, "Hey, man, I could have sworn you said something about food."
Is there anything you don't eat? Like something you don't like?
Not really. I know that there's that Saliana's place that's in Vegas. I usually every time I'm in Vegas, I usually go. They have like it's like a Filipino Mexican restaurant basically. So they make
Mhm.
like the burritos with French fries and different types of meat, and then they wrap it in bacon and then they grill it. It's pretty fantastic.
By
Obviously,
the end
that's
of the
post
day,
fight, right?
we want you to jump up 2 weight classes. That's our goal. Everybody's got to go up a couple weight classes before the day
Yeah,
is
then it
over.
had to be post fight for sure. Cause yeah, I
Yeah,
can do that post fight no problem, and then get back down pretty quickly.
awesome.
I have something else too. Robert Whitaker, I think, is a good gamer. I don't know if you follow him. He
Yeah.
apparently is into the gaming world. So is Demetrius Johnson.
Yep.
And then as far as food goes, since you did say, I think, broaden your horizons or something like that. I don't know if you were paying attention, but I said fellow Peruvians like Gaston Bolanos. Our mom is from Peru, and so we grew up with that cuisine. And I never realized just how good it is until my brother started, expanding more on what our mom did. And then I went to Peru recently for an extended time. Dude, it is one of the best cuisines in the world, man. Have you messed with it much? Either eaten it or tried to cook it?
I haven't tried to cook it. Honestly, I would imagine that it's probably phenomenal. I'm sure like the spices used are probably vast. Like
Spices, and it's a fusion of meat and potatoes and all that, but a lot of seafood. And well, my brother probably can explain it better, but I mean,
Mhm.
it's really outstanding.
It's got a
yeah,
Japanese influence to it too.
Okay,
So,
Japanese. I was gonna say Indian. I thought more like close to like
mhm.
Indian type food. But yeah, that sounds right up my alley. See, I need to expand or widen my horizons for sure. Cause, and that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. Like, man, do I just go into these next parts and just do some regular stuff, or do I step outside of my comfort zone and start throwing down some real dishes? I think I'm gonna step outside my comfort zone. I think you talked me into it.
There you go.
All right. Well, look, hope to catch up with you during the year. I think 3 fights sounds good. One has to be active in this weight class because there are a lot of killers. And now, granted, some of them are on their way out. I guess, like I said, about 10 years ago, 8 years ago is when I really, really loved this division. They had the Dillashaw Faber thing, the Dillashaw Garbrandt thing, the Cruz versus Alpha Male, and then now all of a sudden your O'Malley's, Dvalishvili, Sterling's. It's an incredible division, and then of course, some of the up and coming talent like yourself, that's starting to come through. Batista as well. It's wow. I really, really like it. So hopefully you get some really good matchups in 2025, and we can be talking in 2026 these title contender fights with you or something.
Yeah, that'd be a blessing. Some people put it out in their universe, so what gets put out there by many usually comes to fruition. So
yeah, and no disrespect, but you are 34, so you kind of have to get going on some of these matchups. You know what I'm saying? Like we were talking earlier about Paddy Pimblett and all that. He's still, I think, 26, 27, but how the UFC is when you have an opportunity to seize on it. You're 4-0, I think, in the UFC now, 10-1 overall. That's a really good start. Yeah, just make what you can out of these runs.
yeah, and that's why again I'm not too against any matchups that they give out. I just feel like the Aiemann one makes sense, but I know that with my age I should be pushing to move forward, but I'm already moving pretty fast as it is. Four
Yeah,
fights into the UFC and now ranked number 14. So I got to find that sweet spot. I feel like and then just be trustful in the fact that like yes I'm aging, but I'm still only 10-1 in this game. I don't have a lot of
true.
miles.
You don't have mileage. You don't have mileage. Yeah, exactly. And you have a nice record. I think back to O'Malley when he got matched up with Peter Yan. It seemed like that's when his life changed. It was a split decision. It was a close one, but then all of a sudden, boom, the run was on. So yeah, you have to get someone from the top at some point, see what they got, and then make something off that name. Like look at what Ditcheva just did over at PFL against Santos. Now
Yep.
everyone was like, well, PFL Europe, the season, but have you beaten anyone? Now all of a sudden she beats Talia Santos, and everyone's all over her, including me. I think she's an outstanding athlete, but it's seizing that one moment against someone who has a name or is ranked higher. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I'm getting back to work. Honestly, the work doesn't stop, like we said, and I'll be ready for that. Because it wouldn't be surprising to me if I do get an opportunity like that. And again, I think one of the attributes that I have brought to the game is being ready for that. Not having to get ready, but staying ready, and I want to stay to that too. So I'm enjoying this holidays, but as far as training goes and getting my weight back down and making sure everything's like it should be. That is definitely my focus so that I can take whatever opportunities do come my way. So I appreciate the advice for sure.
That's what's up. All right, my man. Thanks for spending almost a half hour with us. Sorry for going longer. Found you quite interesting and lots to talk about. So anyway, hopefully we'll see you soon here in Las Vegas.
All
Take
right,
care.
sounds good. I look
All right,
forward
see
to
you.
it.